But what I always find when I come to events like this and the work we've done with Jonathan over the last couple of years is just how big an area continuity and disaster planning can be. You know, I'm from an IT background, and we're going to talk a little bit about IT recovery. David's presentation from Absolute was fantastic because he's teed up all of my stuff for me and made it sound really important, which is always nice. But you know, from a traditional background, you know, IT often drove people's business continuity planning. It was often given to the IT people and saying, we need a business continuity plan. And being a person who's an IT person, I'd just like to say now, if you think like that in your business, you need to swap that round. Don't let IT people drive business continuity planning, because business continuity planning is exactly that. It's about your business. The IT is an element of it and an important element. Just to get people moving a little bit, let's just have a couple of quick questions. How many people have IT in their business? Surprisingly few. That's better, that's all right. So how many people have data in their business that's important? Okay, that's good. I'm talking to a right room anyway. How many people are deep technical people who will find the next 10 minutes really, really interesting? Yeah. Should have had the other guy on first, Jonathan. It's you know. But luckily, I'm not the person between lunch and now. So there's some details about me up on there. Jonathan teamed me up better than I could, which is always nice. Garden Systems, we've been around 28th year this year. And we're an IT consultancy. I mean, that's kind of what we do. People come to us with their IT problems, tend to be business problems, which IT kind of plays a part in fixing. And our idea in life is to come up with clever technological ways to help you to meet those business challenges. It's not about technology for technology's sake. It's about, you've got a business challenge, you're looking to drive your business forward. Is there a technology out there that can help us to do that? Are the things we should be considering? So that's kind of what we do. So I'm going to talk a little bit just about business data backup and data recovery. So a relatively small part of business continuity piece. There's all kinds of other things that you might want to consider. David touched on before, actually just previously, about things like bad weather. You know, so there's a whole bunch of things around what if you can't access your office? Is there a way you can continue to operate with your IT? So all those kind of things are things that we do on a regular basis. So why is data important? I pinched this quote, as you do. All best quotes are pinched off somebody else because far too clever for me to have written any of that. But I think the key thing in there is it talks about, you know, people are critical to your business. Well, data is the kind of the lifeblood of that business. It's the thing that flows. It's the thing that the people in the business work with. And that's important whether you're a huge multinational or whether you're a sole trader. Your business data is critical. And again, it was touched on previously, and I've got some other, as anybody who presents knows, that we all like a good statistic. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that piece of consultancy work that said 87.3% of statistics made up on the spot. That's it, keep with it. It's all right, it's only 10 minutes, it's not going to be as long as it seems. Is survival a good enough reason for you to take your business backup and recovery seriously? We often see this kind of figure about businesses that don't survive a data loss, and David touched on it there, but it's often difficult to find somebody who, you know, hasn't just made that up on the spot. So pinch these off London Chamber of Commerce. Obviously that's London, that'll be different, as people like to say, because we're far smarter up here, so of course it wouldn't affect us in the same way. But 90% of businesses going out of business within 2 years, 50% unable to even reopen their doors in the event of data loss. Just something to think about. And all I'm really going to do here is, you know, not going to do, you'll be pleased to know, not going to go into lots of technical stuff. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background about why backing up your data and recovery of data is important, a couple of things that you might want to consider as you plan that in your business, and just a couple of examples of things that we've done for organisations of different sizes. One of the biggest things that we see in people's businesses, and the biggest data challenge we see, I think, for people now, is the way they back up their data today no longer meets their business requirements. You know, what would have happened 5 or 6 years ago is that somebody like me would have rocked up and, you know, been all IT and said, what you need is a tape and back it up every night and that'll be fine. And lots of businesses' backup plans are based around that. Once a night, they back up their data and somebody takes tape home or puts it in a safe or sends it off. I always find quite entertaining, send it off to companies who store your tapes for you, and I always find it interesting that some guy turns up in reception with a bag, says, put your data in there, will you? and I'll go and take it away and keep it safe for you. And we do, there's your data, thanks very much. And off he scoots on his moped with all your business data. I always find that quite interesting. An interesting thing there, 92, for me at least, 92% of people have deployed a solution, yet 50% of those still lost data. A great underlining of the things that people do today aren't necessarily meeting their requirements. I think if you look at your own business, if you do a backup every night, if you lost a day's worth of your business transactions, thank you very much. Good. But if you lost a day's worth of your business transactions, is that acceptable to your business? I think that's one good question to ask yourself, because lots of people do that, but then ask yourself, if I lose a day's worth of transactions, is that good enough? Can I afford to lose a day? Maybe I only need to lose a couple of hours. Maybe that's the kind of thing that I need to be thinking about. One of the things, and it was touched on in the previous session, about backups not kept remotely from where all the production data is. So I was given a couple of great examples there. Fire damage, you've got your tape backups, you keep them in a safe next to the server, and then it all goes up in smoke. That's something to think about where do you keep this kind of stuff as well. So what causes data loss? It's not always, in fact in most cases, it's not the big disaster. We all think about fires, we all think about major civil instances or major incidences. It's normally not those things. I picked up some information off a survey about some of the things that cause that. And it's a diverse range of stuff. It can be 63%, I think it says on there, hardware failure. Some of it can be deliberate sabotage, which includes things like viruses. So, you get a virus in your business, that damages important data. Some of it's theft, everything from people carrying around USB sticks. Who's got important data on USB sticks? Those little things you plug into. Yeah. Do you encrypt that data? Because that's one thing that you can do nice and easy to keep it secure. Or do you just leave it on the bus and let other people pick it up? If you obviously work for a government department, you just leave it on the bus, let other people take it away. Unless you work for Merseyside Police, obviously you'd never do anything like that. And then they're not the only things though, it's accidental loss. It's people who's ever done I wish I'd saved that when they clicked cancel instead of save. It's that kind of stuff that can accidentally lose data as well. And it's a matter of looking at, can you protect your business data on a more regular basis perhaps? So what are the kind of things that you need to think about? So think about what your data looks like. What kind of data have you got? You've got things where, who does things like quotes in a business, maybe uses Microsoft Word, writes a quote, stores it somewhere on a USB stick, leaves it on a bus, that kind of stuff. So I keep picking on you now because you nodded when I said USB stick. And then you've got application data. Who's got email systems in the business? Who has an email system? Yeah, some nodding heads, that's good. Never catch on, they electronically sending things. Write it on a bit of paper, stick it in a red box. That's a much better way of doing it. So think about where that is and think about where that data's kept. Maybe some of you have central servers in your business where things like email is stored. Some of you maybe stores are on desktops and laptops. Things like iPads, I've seen the iPad generation running around in here, all looking at their iPads and watching films probably, but pretending they're doing work. USB sticks that we've kind of already picked on. And then look at how you protect that data. We touched on earlier on about daily backups. Is that often enough for your business? So you imagine that you've worked all day on something, it gets to 5 o'clock on Friday, suddenly the power goes off and you've lost that bit of data. You go to your IT bloke and your IT bloke says, that's all right, I've got the tape from last night. And you think, that's not so good because I've just spent the last 8 hours of my life that I'm never going to get back in keying some other stuff in. So just think about those kind of things. Do you keep multiple copies of it? How long do you retain your backup data for? Some of you will have, you've got to keep it for 7 years. You'll have some rules around doing that kind of stuff. And most importantly, and I think it was mentioned in David's presentation previously again, you've got to test it. Can you recover from that stuff? It's no good having a backup if you can't recover from it. I know one company where, they're not in this room, but I won't mention the name, but I know one company that religiously put a backup tape in every single night. It was only when they came to restore it they realised they put a cleaning tape in every single night. They had no data, but they had a shiny tape drive, which was lovely. The one thing that's probably changed for me over the last 4 or 5 years and when I talk to businesses about backing up their data is recovery points and recovery times. Got to think about that. This goes back to backing it up every night is great, but not if your recovery, and by recovery point I mean how often you back up. If your recovery point is, I can't afford to lose more than 2 hours worth of data, then midnight last night's no good to you. Think about your recovery times. How quick can you get this stuff back online? How long got? 2 minutes? 2 minutes. I'll be really quick. So it was so important I made it flash. Did you see that? That's how important it was. So identify your data. So these are the things to think about. Identify your data, identify what's important, so prioritize it. And what I tend to find is that you prioritize the really business critical stuff and then everything else kind of piggybacks on the back of it. So if you've got data in your business that you need to back up every hour and be able to recover it in seconds, then everything else can kind of piggyback onto the back of that. And the thing is, the technology's out there to do all that kind of stuff. It's not mega bank money that you have to go out and pay for it. It's all relatively available consumer type stuff that you can deliver these kind of things with. Consider those recovery points, recovery times, and then deploy, probably a given, that one. When you've done all that, find a solution that allows you to give it. You know, I say if your backup strategy needs to be every hour, then don't back up to a tape every night, because that's not doing what you need it to do. So a couple of quick examples, just to give you an idea of where this kind of stuff sits in. Local dental practice that we work with, it had lots and lots of really important patient data, and that wasn't meant that data which would sit around waiting patiently for you to do stuff. But he didn't have any IT staff on site, and he needed that patient data to be stored away and stored quickly off site, you know, because he didn't have that kind of internal resource to help him to do that. That was something that was relatively easy to do. Dropped a bit of technology in there that allowed us to back it up every night, required no user interaction on site, and we just got it straight off site and secure for him, and we just keep a 30-day rolling copy of that data for him. We had a drinks company, quite a large drinks company, localish to the area. They had a problem that their backups took 27 hours. Last time I checked, that wasn't quite enough time in a day for them to fit that in. So they ended up doing things like stopping backing up stuff. They could only back up what they saw as important stuff, and other things kind of had to drop off the edge. So we put some solutions in place that allowed them to not only sort that backup problem out by backing up while they were working in seconds. So we took a 6 or 7 hour backup for one of their systems down to 50 seconds. We also could help them to develop a DR solution that allowed them to then send that data 40 miles away to their DR site. So in the event of even losing the entire site. And then one final one was a local business that we did some work with. They had a requirement to have, in the event of losing their site, could they pitch up somewhere else, get access to their data, and that data be relatively up to date. So that allowed us to put a solution together that we could do that for them. So it's all kinds of things, everything from just backing up some stuff, so patient records, you know, critical to his business, but he's only small business, through to organisations who've got multiple sites and want to be able to back up and recover their data. So if you take nothing else away, think about recovery points and recovery times, and then design your solution appropriately. That's me done. That's all right. Jonathan, thanks very much. Thank you.